My 28M fiance 28F randomly ended our relationship. Is this abuse? I'm not sure if this is the right place for this. Please forgive the long post. My fiance has always been very controlling. She gets upset when I don't do things exactly right and often contradicts herself. She wants me to go out and be more social, but will call and yell at me when I do. She wants me off my phone, but sits there on hers. She wants me to go to the gym, but complains when I'm there too long. Honestly, I've been pretty love struck, so I didn't really pick up on these things until everything fell apart. She has a bit of a drinking problem. Not that she drinks constantly, but when she doesn't know her limit. With wedding planning and my busy work schedule to pay for the wedding, she tends to go out on the weekends with her girlfriend since I'm home late anyways, and she enjoys it, so she deserves to unwind after a busy week. We typically do lunches and overnight trips when my schedule will allow it, and when I'm off in the evenings, we make dinner together to connect. She's nitpicked before, but I kind of wrote it off as her personality and always adjusted. Example, she didn't want me running the washer/dryer so much, so I went from twice to once a week. I work two jobs and one is construction, so my clothes get dirty fast. She thought I had too much clothes even though we have the same storage space, so I donated the clothes she didn't like. She didn't like when I cooked late coming home from my second job, event staff, so I would pick something up on the way home. I felt like this was the regular couple stuff. All in all, she's been excited about the wedding and our new apartment, so I thought everything was good. Long story short, a few weeks ago, she came home hammered, which is nothing new, but she got outright mean. I wrote it off as just being drunk. Sometimes she playfully teases me when she's drinking, but when she sobered up, she was still really mean. Her controlling attitude escalated until she was pretty much unbearable, and she ended up telling me she deserved better and that she wanted to start over and that I needed to leave. She started listing all these weird faults. I don't get along with her friends who I have never met because they don't live in our country. I don't make an effort with her family. I'm very close to her brother, we game often, and we have dinner with her parents once a month, and that I'm too dependent on her. I do tend to put her first a lot, but I kind of thought that was normal. Then, she basically told me to leave. I gave her some space and slept at my brother's a few nights, asking how he thought I should fix this, and it was then that he pointed out she is kind of abusive, so maybe this was a good thing. I don't know. She's still the love of my life, and I can't wrap my head around this. After a few nights, I went back because I needed more clothes, but also because I wanted to see if we could talk things out. She flat out refused and said her friends all agreed. My issue right now is she is downright hostile. She is nice every so often when she wants something, but other than that, she is short, cold, and often annoyed. She basically said we're done and she's keeping the apartment and I need to figure it out. Then, radio silence for a month outside of a few drunk I miss you texts while I couch hopped. The last time I went over to grab clothes, she kissed me and basically said she wished things could be different and talked about the proposal and all the things we've done together. So I tried to talk it out again, but she got super angry and kicked me out again. Now, she is telling me I need to pay half the rent because I'm on the lease. I spoke to the landlord about potentially removing me from the lease, but he said she has to agree and she's refusing. She's refusing to agree to sign the lease over to someone else. What can I even do here? My brother pointed out that since I'm on the lease, she can't keep me from staying there, but the apartment is small. Being practically on top of one another, I can't see how it will work with her behavior. She's refusing to even be civil. I asked her to reconsider finding a new tenant, and she basically said she doesn't see why she has to move just because I couldn't change. My brother said I could make a case for abuse to get off the lease, but I don't want to do that to her. She can be mean, but she's a nice person and we've been together for 6 years. I feel like that's a step too far, and my mother agrees. I honestly don't think this is abuse. Is it? They're really pushing that I go forward with this, especially after my brother read some texts, but I feel like if I end the tenancy citing abuse, that's dishonest and can further upset her. Commenter 1. She's extremely controlling and seems abusive. I don't know about Ontario, but where I live, if two parties are on a lease, they're both responsible. But if one person leaves, the other person is 100% responsible. Look up the laws where you live. You might be able to just leave and not be responsible. Sorry you're going through this. I hope you can heal. OP. She's honestly a nice person. Everyone seems to love her, but I think I'm starting to see our relationship wasn't balanced. I have tried looking it up, and it seems even if I leave, if my name is on the lease, I am on the hook. The landlord agreed to hand the lease off to someone else, but she's just flat out refusing, and I don't get why. If she wants to start over, I think starting over in a new place would be what she wanted. It also says I can't change the lease until she agrees. Commenter 2. At first, I thought that the purpose of your post was to get advice about whether to cancel the wedding engagement and break up, but it sounds like you're actually just asking about how to handle the apartment lease. I think she's abusive, but even if I'm wrong, the bottom line is that regardless of whether the behavior fits the exact definition of it, she's hostile, selfish, and an unstable drunk. Hopefully, you've decided you're not going to marry this train wreck. You don't want to spend 50 years with this toxic person, right? As for the apartment lease, go consult an expert. OP. I definitely will see a lawyer. It was more to confirm if this is abuse because if it is, they may let me off the lease without her permission. Um, it seems like she's just kind of a mess. I mean, kind of like the commenter said, you're gonna be marrying a train wreck, right? I mean, your fiance is kind of controlling, I'm not gonna lie, and she can't really make up her mind. Like, your actions don't match what she's saying, or you're lying about what you're doing, right? Because there's no way you could like be close with her brother and go to her family's place for dinner once a month, and that isn't like a good relationship with them. And if it is, then she should be able to tell you what she wants out of your relationship with them, right? And it's like, if you go to the gym, but then she's like, you're there too long, it's like, well, what do you want from me? I mean, unless you're spending fucking more than 2 hours a day in the gym, I don't really see the big deal. I mean, it is kind of a big commitment to make. Well, not really big commitment, but like, you come home from work and then you go to the gym, right? That's another like, hour or two depending on the commute to the gym and depending on how long you're there. But it's not like any of these things couldn't be solved by you guys talking it out. So I don't know if she's abusive, but she just doesn't know how to communicate and she's very controlling. Anyways, let's get into update 1. Update 1. 8 days later. Things have kind of snowballed out of control. A day or so after I made my first post, my brother sat me down and kind of discussed a game plan with me. The first thing he told me was to take the money I had put in a joint account meant for our wedding out, since she had access to that, and she was pretty pissed at me. Not sure why, since she ended things and I only recently found out it was because she cheated. Okay, I have been saving for over a year, sometimes putting in as much as $600 a month, and I also put my Christmas bonus in there. I don't know what I expected to happen after I did that, but things escalated pretty quickly after. I had screenshots of how out of control the text got, but it won't let me add them to this post. The long and short of it was she was upset that I all but emptied the account, only leaving what she had contributed. She had only put a couple thousand in because towards the beginning of planning, she decided I should be the one to pay for all the bulk of the wedding. Looking back now, I can't believe I agreed her. Her argument was that I should have kept all my money in the account to pay for my portion of the rent that I had stolen from her. She kept calling me a thief, even when I showed her a screenshot of my banking transfers into the account and that I only transferred out the exact amount. She only got more upset because I refused to talk to her in person or answer the phone so I could have everything we discussed in text. She had her dad call me basically telling me to do the right thing, which just meant to give her all the money I'd saved since it was still for her anyways. When I refused, she started calling my mother almost nonstop. She would start calling her around 9 p.m., and sometimes it wouldn't stop until 1. At first, I told my mother to block her number, but my brother said to just put it on silent so we have a record of how often she was calling. One night, she called my mom 36 times. My mother has been having some serious health issues since my father passed in June, so my sister has been living with her, and the calls obviously made my sister upset, and now it's a whole thing. My sister ended up filing a harassment report with the police, and we're hoping that it will help me get off the lease if we can prove she's being abusive. She also called both my ex and her father and told them if they had anything to say, it would go through her. I filed an N-15 form, but the officer I spoke to about the harassment didn't seem convinced it would be approved because he wouldn't classify this as domestic abuse. I guess I'll just have to cross my fingers and hope for the best. All this definitely showed me who she is. I don't think I could fall out of love with someone so quickly. Thanks for all the replies to my initial post. Commenter 1. Inform your employer first thing Monday about the harassment. Take your evidence, explain what's happening, and that way when she shows up at your job, she can be immediately trespassed. OP. I didn't consider this, thank you. I'll let both my employers know. Commenter 2. I'm glad for you that she ended it. She is one huge red flag. Please work on your self-respect and worth so you don't put up with this again. You may want to see an attorney and make her communicate with them. When does your lease run out? OP. I'm in the process of looking for an attorney. Unfortunately, the lease isn't out until October of 2026. Look, I know this happens all the time on Reddit, but 36 times? Do you know how hard it is to call someone 36 times and they don't answer? Doesn't the phone ring for like 15 seconds? They called you for 9 straight minutes. Dude, I call someone once and I don't even leave a voicemail because I'm already like, I'm too far gone. I don't even want to deal with it anymore. I'm just like, they can call me back. But they called 36 times in 4 hours? Dude, she's insane. I honestly hope you never have to even like see her again. And you have a lease with her for another year. So it's kind of a cook situation. But I kind of want to see what happens in the update. And I really hope that it's not an update that says like, "Oh, I'm going back to her because, it was all just a prank." I hope that's not the case. Like I seriously hope for this guy's sake. Update 2, nearly 1 month later. I tried to post this a week ago and it didn't go through because of how close the posts were, but I knew there were a few people who wanted updates. First and foremost, thanks to everyone who messaged me offering advice and resources. It made a huge difference. Once I was out, the pattern of abuse became more evident. The emotional roller coaster she always had me on was one I didn't really realize I got on until I was finally off. I went into the apartment with my sister, 36F, while my ex, 28F, was at work to clear out all of my stuff. I was initially going to go out with my brother, 34, but in the calls to my mother, between 5 to 20 a night on weekends, she sometimes physically threatened people, and my sister wanted to be there in case she did get physical, since my brother and I wouldn't be able to do much if she did. Obviously, neither of us would hit her or anything, so this made the most sense. The police also didn't seem to want to accompany us. We cleared the bulk of my stuff out, but unfortunately, she did come home early because, well, that's been my luck lately. She yelled a bunch, which we ignored, but unfortunately, my sister spoke to her before we left because a bunch of my stuff was missing. I didn't care a lot about it at this point, but my sister was upset the PS5 was gone, so she told her she didn't know where she put it, but she needed to get it back because she wasn't leaving without it. Tensions were obviously high as my sister is currently living with my mom taking care of her, so she's been present for the non-stop calls on the weekends. When my sister kept pressing her about it and ignoring everything else she was saying, my ex picked up a picture frame and threw it at me for bringing her here. At this point, everything boiled over. My sister got between us, and when she slapped my sister, a fight ensued. Long story short, the police arrived, and my sister told them she wanted to file another report, which made my ex surrender the PS5 and admit she had thrown a bunch away. Because of all this, the landlord was made aware and I've been taken off the lease. A few days after, her mother called me. She basically wanted me to reconsider the reports filed because she was worried my ex would have charges that would follow her around and she didn't think it was fair after I called off the wedding and abandoned her. I told her that she needed to have a conversation with my ex about the lies she was telling and her harassing my mother before I hung up. That's the long and short of it. Hopefully I'm done now and there won't be any more updates. Thanks for listening to me and helping me through all of this. I don't know what came from that conversation, but her mother did send mine flowers, so I'm guessing at least some truth came out. Anyways, I'm hoping to put all this behind me at this point. Now that I'm done with the apartment headache, I am going to grief counseling with my family and working on starting over. It's sad that authorities don't get involved until the issue is too far gone to be saved at all between people. But it's like, why does it have to get to the point where your sister and your ex fiance are throwing hands for the police to get involved and you to finally get taken off the lease? Like, could your landlord not see that you weren't even allowed in the house? Like she would just crash out at you whenever. Also, what is up with this wife and harassing people, or his ex-fiance, and harassing people, not expecting there to be consequences to her actions? Like, what do you think would happen if you called someone 30 fucking times a night just to tell them that you hate them? Like, what do you think would happen at that point if you came to take your stuff back? You think everyone would just be holly jolly and be like, "Oh, it's all good. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. I'm over it now. You can call me 20 times again tonight, but I won't answer." Like, no, no one's gonna do that. Anyways, I'm glad that OP is out of there. Let me know what you all think in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.